Hello everyone, this is Gabriel Riel and this is a Rise Atlantis show. Today is Sunday, February the 11th, 2018. So the topic of the day will be abortions and adoptions. Abortions and adoptions. And it's so crazy because each side says they're justified. Of course, adoption is always nice, but you know, the child, when they grow up, they find out that they've been lied to their whole lives, saying that their parents were their real parents. It's hard because the parents need to tell their kids that they were adopted at an early age. Now, how can they tell them that without it being too much for them? So it's not easy, adoptions, but it's way better than abortions. And I can't believe they're starting to abort late term now. And they always say because they don't have the money, that's why they want to abort, and also that they don't want their child hating them when they grow up because they threw them in adoption agencies. So it's really, really sensitive topic about abortions and adoptions. So I'll talk about that today. That'll be the talk of the day. And it's a very important topic because it's nice to adopt, but it's hard on the kids when they find out that they've been adopted, that that their parents don't care about them. So it's a very how should I say it? It's not an easy topic. Let's just say that. It's very complicated. So we'll go ahead and get started with the news of the day. The new space race: how billionaires launch the next era of exploration. SpaceX, Elon Musk. I mean, this is news that we all know about. Okay, let's see here. Next article. Is your smart TV at risk of being hacked? There's also reports of the TVs collecting data on everyone. Consumer Reports warns millions of Samsung and Roku devices have easy-to-find security flaws, so they can be easily hacked. Let's see here. And I can't believe now Spectrum is starting to raise their rates. Remember, they were Roadrunner at first, Time Warner, and they're the most expensive. So I believe what they did was what's it called, a bait and switch. What they did was they hooked everyone in, offering lower prices, and once they had so many people in, that's when they did the switch and raised the higher rates. So that was deceptive what they did. That was deceptive what Spectrum did. They shouldn't have done that. Okay, let's see here. All right, let's see here. TV manufacturers have been spying on their customers. Let's see here. These include devices such as Samsung, TCL, and those running Roku platforms. Smart TVs are the dominating scene, making old-fashioned televisions a rarity. See, the reason a lot of big screen TVs are starting to mess up is they were using mercury tubes, and the mercury would dry out, and you need a whole bunch of tubes over the years. Now that with these smart TVs, they don't use mercury tubes anymore, and they use better technology to keep the TV running longer. So the big screen TVs should have never used mercury. Should have never used mercury tubes. and there should have been some oversight that stopped them from running the mercury tubes. Because it's sad, a lot of big screen TVs costed a lot of money, and now they're all ending up as junk because the cost to fix the big screen TVs are too much. That was very deceptive that the big screen TVs did, and they should be held liable. I think they should have been fined and that money go to something. I know it can't go to people because it affected everyone. So if it could go to like a consumer product organization of some kind, it would be nice. There's still time to go after those companies that make so much money out the big screen TVs because they costed a lot of money. And those are the fat cats that ran off laughing all of the way to the bank. And they've never been punished. They need to be brought to justice. And I feel like we have to protest on everything. We need a protest of this topic, a protest of that topic. We need to be protesting like hundreds and thousands of different topics. And it's hard because, one, it's hard to get people involved to protest. Two, it's hard to actually get the courts and the Supreme Court to do anything about it. So I know it ain't easy. It seems a lot of protests are lost causes. Because, you could be in the street all day, over and over with the signs and this and that, picketing and all this, all that, and it still won't be enough for the government to do anything about it. You can send letters all day to the government, and they don't care. They just laugh it off. All the letters they get, it seems they just toss them in the trash. So it's really bad. We need to crack down on all these fat cats that got rich off everyone. And it's not right. And the time has come when we need to rise up and protest a whole variety of issues. We need to be protesting every single thing. I know it's hard. It's going to take more than protesting. It's going to take actually going directly to the Supreme Court and slamming our fist down on the desk and demanding action, putting our foot down, It's going to actually take us going into the Supreme Court and raising awareness. Maybe Trump needs to sign bills on a whole bunch of things. We need complete reform of the things from the past that is affecting us in the present and the future as well. So I guess the easiest way to go through the Supreme Court is talking to Trump, getting bills passed, and so that's how to make difference. We need to talk with the President Trump, and we need to convince him to take action on all these things, because that's the real way the Supreme Court will ever do anything, is when bills get sent to them from the president. So that's the way it needs to be. Us protesting to Trump sending it to the Supreme Court. That's how we make change. It's not going to be through protesting alone every day, sending letters. All that, it doesn't do anything. I hate to say it's how should I say? It's just an iconic idea. We need real action. We need real change. And it's going to take more than protesting and sending letters. So back to this topic here on, smart TVs are could be hacked. The whole grid can be hacked. Remember when, what was it, Equifax or something like that? There's, I believe it was Yahoo. Remember when hackers stole everyone's Yahoo accounts? You see, all this information is owned in one company, and so many people work in these companies that anyone could just pass along information, the master password, if you will, to get into everyone else's account. So it's not good. We need oversight. We need a higher form of government besides our government. We need an advanced government besides just our main government. A government higher than the one that is residing right now. Scientists create self-healing electronic skin. Now this skin looks weird. It looks all they're trying to make us biohuman, robotic human. You know, and they're trying to. I mean, what next? They say there's pills now that when you swallow it, it can alert you to your phone and email when you're gonna have a bowel movement. You know, that's how stupid it's getting nowadays. I mean, they want to have nanobots actually go through your body and actually zap cells to reverse them, to reverse aging process, to reverse deterioration of diseases and all. So it sounds like a good idea, nanobots, but it can be very dangerous and risky. And it's just, I mean, anything can shut it off. Go through a magnetic field. I mean, so many things can. There's flaws to almost everything. So it's not a perfect future. No, it's gonna get worse. I'm not saying it's this is doom and gloom here. I'm saying we think the future is gonna get better. The world's gonna get better with science and technology, but actually, all that is gonna cave everything in on itself. A virtual insanity, and that's gonna. The technology will actually make everything more crazier through forms of immoral science and not just that, but too much. It will have like robots everywhere. We don't know if they're trusted or not. We don't know if they can be hacked by, rewired by terrorists. They send them out. It's not just robots. It's the whole 9 yards. With technology, now they said they can have EMPs, electromagnetic pulses, that could black out stuff. So it could become a very dystopian future soon. Now, dystopian means the opposite of utopia. And in return, it's a very industrialized planet. So how America wants to become is like China, how it is now, with factories everywhere, and that's how America's going to be in the future. The pollution they have in China right now is what we're going to have in America later on. And it's just, it's a one giant mess, basically. Factories everywhere, smog, and we think technology is the answer, but it is not, because it's going to open voodoo doors. It's going to open genies out the bottles, Pandora's boxes of all this voodoo technology. So it is not good at all. Not good at all. Next story, cipher more UFO bits found in Science Museum archive. UFO bits. Pieces of UFOs, everything from Roswell. So supposedly they're finding more stuff. I mean, it's not really that great. Next story, Nazca tomb mystery. What happened to them? Wall of silence over alien mummies. Okay, alien mummies. It says here, there has been no news on the Nazca tomb aliens since September. Now this is supposed mummies of the Nazca tombs. Now I don't know if these are real or not. Now, I don't know if those are real or not. Let's see here. Of course, they say stuff is real till later on they do the DNA testing and find it's not real. Speaking of fake news, The Onion is a news that is all just for pure comedy. So if you stumble upon the Onion network, just know that it's all just for a good laugh. That is not real news. That's about the only fake news company that I know of out there. Let's see here. So the sixth and latest video featured scientists claiming 6 3-fingered and toed apparent corpses. So there were 6 of these mummies that had 3 fingers on each hand and 3 toes on each feet. 3. That's weird because usually they show like the 6 fingers. Now in a lot of cartoons, they show like 3-4 fingers. So it you know, well, the stuff you're seeing in cartoons is becoming reality now. It's getting really crazy. Let's see here. Steve Mera is a British-based UFO investigator who is not part of the Gaia.com team, GAIA. That's owned from George Norrie, Coast to Coast. I don't think he owns them. No. George Norrie doesn't own Gaia.com. He's affiliated with them, which means he has a Coast to Coast show on that website. Okay, so he jetted to Peru to make his own documentary about the mummies shown on YouTube. Okay, he also promised further installments after releasing one video in August. Express.co.uk contacted him to see if he knew why Gaia.com went quiet. He said, I do, and it's a hell of a story. We got there in the end, but not exactly what we thought. So, other UFO buffs that followed the case were also left in the dark. Not really saying much else about it. I mean, they really don't have 100% proof that those are real yet. I don't know. They could always say they're, deformities, natural deformed humans. Blackout hits northern Puerto Rico following fire and explosion. Why were there explosions? This happened today. Set off a big fire at a main power substation in the U.S. territory. Felt a little itchy throat coming on there. I had to take a chug of water. So there was a blackout in Puerto Rico today. The fire explosion. What caused the explosion? Let's see here. It's not immediately known what caused the fire, although officials said the explosion knocked 2 other substations offline and caused a total loss of 400 megawatts worth of generation. How much is that? 4,000 churches devastated in Puerto Rico of the hurricanes. They say they're trying to restore the electricity. Okay, so it's the electric stations that are exploding. I guess they're being overrun, running too much power, and it's blowing up or something. It's weird. Huh. I guess their grid can't handle it. It's weird. Their grid can't handle it. Okay. Trump to unveil $1.5 trillion in infrastructure plan. 1.5 trillion. Not billion, but trillion. Let's see here. In infrastructure of what? What kind of infrastructure? Using $200 billion in federal money to leverage local state tax dollars to fix America's infrastructure, such as roads, highways, ports, and airports. Now, a lot of our bridges are crumbling, and it'd be scary if you're driving on a bridge and all of a sudden the thing caves in and gives way, and you're falling head first for who knows how many feet, more than 20 feet or more. It's got to be scary. So as a word of advice, never drive over a deteriorating bridge. Avoid them. A lot of small private planes and helicopters are crashing. They've always been crashing since a lot of celebrities have been dying on small planes. Now the large planes are safe. You rarely hear them on the news they crash. It is the small planes that are dangerous. Those are the ones to avoid, and even helicopters. So never ride on a small plane and helicopters. Let's see here. Next story. Israeli Prime Minister said airstrikes dealt severe blows to Iran and Syria. Gotcha, Iran, Syria, and we coming after you next, you terrorist ISIS. Yeah, man. Severe blows to Iran, Syria. Yeah. You know, these terrorists are starting to hide out in Turkey now. They're starting to hide out in places we would never expect. They're starting to hide out in Canada as well, so watch out. These terrorists are hiding like roaches. And when the light comes on, we see them and we're going to stomp on them. Yeah, you know what I'm saying, terrorists. The time's almost over. Jesus is returning, man. Enough of your madness, ISIS, terrorists. And then, the Taliban? I say, man, it's time for us to ban the Taliban, man. Ban the Taliban. Okay, so, God bless, what's his name? Benjamin Netanyahu. God bless Benjamin Netanyahu. He said, let's see here. Israel ordered airstrikes after it intercepted an Iranian drone that had infiltrated its airspace, and an Israeli F-16 was downed upon its return from Syria. And you know, these terrorists, they have those rocket, what do they call it? Shoulder rocket fire propelled grenade or something like that. Basically rocket launchers that they have on their shoulders, and they're shooting out planes from the sky. So they need to crack down on all that. It's very crazy, and that's how the terrorists probably brought down that F-16. So they need to go and find all those rocket launchers they have, and they need to get rid of all those weapons. They're all makeshift stuff. They're making them in their houses. It's getting really bad. Let's see here, what else? What else did it say? It doesn't say how many terrorists they took out. But severe blows to Iran and Syria. And remember, there's Pakistan was the one that was sending the missiles into Israel with the Iron Dome. Remember that? Israel was sending the Iron Dome. The missiles were coming in from, was it Pakistan? Not just Pakistan. What was that? Palestine. They're coming from Palestine. And Israel were sending a bunch to take them down, but some were getting through and hitting. So Palestine, they're trying to reemerge. So yeah, it's just like Revelation says, when Israel is surrounded by all its enemies, is the time of Jesus' return. And Israel has a lot of enemies. Actor Stephen Baldwin said, I haven't talked to my brother Alex since the election. Now come on, politics that bad that you can't even be brothers? You see how much politics can drive rifts between friends and family? It should not be that way. You know? It is bad. Grand Canyon helicopter crash caused 4 rescued, 3 dead. See, like I was talking about, helicopters. Do not trust small aircrafts. They are unstable. Russian airliner crashes near Moscow after takeoff, 71 dead. Now, I said it's rare when airplanes crash, but there are more crashes around the world that's not United States, because I hate to say it, but a lot of security is very lax in a lot of poor countries. And in a lot of poor countries, you have more that are paid off for terrorists to slide in. Like the Malaysia plane. Maybe Malaysia, people in there, paid off. They were being paid off by the terrorists, and they let them in. So it's very bad when it comes to poor countries. They need to increase their security and not be paid off by terrorists. Let's see here. Was this mechanical failure? They're not saying what brought it down yet. Russia said no cause is found yet, but it's still being investigated. Now the terrorists are hating Russia because Putin and the Russian government, they're going after the terrorists, which is good. I think Putin and the Russian government for that. But at the same time, they were wrong for being terrorists and stealing Crimea from Ukraine. So Russia is not a perfect country. Putin is not a Boy Scout. He is he's not perfect, and I'm not even saying close to perfect. Putin is bad, but he has his good parts as well. But Putin is he's walking a slippery slope, man. You know, because I really believe he's not going to stop right there with Crimea. He probably has more, and the rest of Russia probably has more tricks up their sleeves. They probably are looking to expand and steal more land and maybe warmonger certain ways. And maybe they're getting too bad with killing terrorists that they're just like firing at will, basically. They're not actually trying to capture them first. Like at least Trump said, we should try to capture the terrorists first. But if we can't, then we have to take them out. So the way Putin, Russia's thing is like, they don't even want to capture them. They just want to kill them like that. And you got to at least try to capture them when you can. Because that's what God wants us to do. He wants us to take the moral road here and not just do it the easy way and just blowing everyone up, but take the high road, send troops in, try to arrest them, have them tried in court. And if they're found innocent, then they will be redeemed by God. So that's how we should do it. We should take the high road, not just be blowing everyone up, dropping bombs left and right. We should take the high road and send troops in and arrest those terrorists. The first post-Christian generation, skyrocketing. Skyrocketing atheism seen among America's teens. So they're saying it's the teenagers nowadays are becoming more atheists than ever. Let's see here, next story. Aetna, AETNA customers get $17 million in HIV privacy settlement. Thousands of customers' HIV statuses were revealed in mailings last year. A federal class action lawsuit against healthcare company Aetna has reached a $17 million settlement. The lawsuit was filed in August after some 12,000 Aetna customers nationwide received letters in the mail in July about HIV status to windows of the envelopes. Aetna agreed to pay $17 million to resolve the privacy breach. So supposedly, no, these weren't by hackers. These were, I guess, companies trying to buy them out. And they were letting them. Okay, next story. Trump administration looking to privatize the International Space Station. That's the only one we have, so where did they mess it up? It's pretty funny. Okay, next story. Attacker slashes churchgoers with a sword, injuring 5 in Indonesia. Man, these people are on some stupid evil, I'm telling you. Stupid evil. How can people be so stupid to ruin their lives by killing people and going to prison and getting the death penalty and laughing every step of the way till they're frying in the fires of hell forever? How can people be so stupid? It boggles my mind. It just boggles my mind. Supposedly, this person said he's doing it for vengeance for the terrorists. This is over there in Indonesia. You know, they're using that brainwashing thing that, oh, they're doing it for Allah, huh? Cape Town rejoices as rain falls on drought-stricken city. It's getting bad, Cape Town, Africa. First, I didn't know where that was. It sounded like Florida or something. No, Cape Town, Africa is having a severe drought. You would think Africa would have more rainfall, right? Because we always see Africa as this tropical place, this rainforest, and it's always in abundance of water and rain, but it's becoming like California. It's very dry, and they're like, it costs money to send water in, and it's really bad. It's really bad. So it seems these celebrities donate money for causes, but it seems it's never enough because there are always so much things they have to keep donating to. And it's like, what's the real solution here? And the last story: man scales fence, runs to a plane at LAX. Okay, another nutcase here. Let's see here. He ran up to a plane, causing a temporary shutdown, making a fool of himself, screaming and yelling. People could not hear what he was saying. Man. Okay. What a loser. You know what, those people, we don't even care about their names because they're losers. They're losers. Okay. So now we'll get into the talk of the day, which is abortions and adoptions. It's like these two things are the complete opposite. Abortion is kill, adoption is life, but they all have their flaws. And I will say how adoptions have flaws because it seems like the most loving thing to do, right? Adopt children. But it's bad because if you don't tell the children that they were adopted, then they will hate you when they find out when you tell them the truth. Even if you try to hide it from them their whole lives and they find out later on. They have technology. They can go on the internet and find out. And it's really bad because you can't lie to the children saying they're not adopted if they are. But then again, if you do tell them, they get very angry. Especially if they're a young age, like I'd say like 6 to 18 years old. Because then they feel like, okay, their biological parents didn't want them, so they feel like they've been thrown away. And they get in a fight with their adopted parents, they could get so depressed that they may commit suicide. So I am against punishment like spanking and all that and paddling and all that. I'm against that. It does the opposite. That does no good at all. It makes kids angry. Grounding them is good enough. Take away their electronics for a week or two. That's good enough. They don't have to go and abusing their kids like that. It's horrible. It is this this barbarian form of abuse. And I mean, it goes both ways. Even taking away their electronics for a week or two, even then they might take it over the top and kill themselves, commit suicide over something frivolous as that. So you know how it is. You know how kids are nowadays. They can't go one day without TV, video games, with their cell phone. So it's really bad. How else do you what's the word? I'm trying to think of the word. How else do you discipline your kids without beating them up or without taking away their stuff for so long and they just lose it to the point where they could commit suicide? How else do you discipline your kids? You know, like if they're ditching school or they're tagging up everywhere or they're using drugs or they're hanging around gangs or they're doing all these wrong things, stealing cars, breaking into houses. The list goes on, beating people up for no reason, stealing from people, stealing money. A whole lot of justified reasons can come up to when you need to discipline your kids. You just can't have them do whatever they want and be like completely crazy. You got to discipline them somehow to stop them from ruining their lives. And it's hard because you just can't beat them up and you can't take away their stuff for too long. So how else do you discipline besides that? You just don't turn a blind eye and ignore it because then they'll get worse and worse. So that's really hard when you're trying to, when you adopt a child and you don't tell them and they find out later, they can end up hating you so much. Now, if you say, what are the odds that the adopted child is going to go on some website where they find the actual proof of their parents? If they were told they were not adopted their whole lives, people would say, well, then they won't search what their biological status is. But so many things can happen. You know, companies nowadays, what's it called? Like these companies of telemarketers and stuff. For all we know, the kids who were adopted may grow up, and when they're adults, they get telemarketer calls saying, do you know the genealogy of your life and this and that? These could be telemarketers that buy out information. Now, that's just a conspiracy. I don't know if that really happens, but say, for example, when the adopted children grow up and they want to marry, and then they somehow find proof that they were adopted somehow. How devastating it could be for people to find out they've been lied to their whole lives by their parents. So it's never good to lie. Because if you get caught in a lie that extreme of not telling a kid they're adopted, they could take it different ways. They could take it to where they get so angry that they want to beat up their adopted parents. They could take it so bad that they commit suicide. And who knows, a whole bunch of things can happen. They can enter a very depressive state. They may not kill themselves, but they'll be depressed for long. And eventually they may commit suicide. So it's very tricky. I would love to adopt children later on, but it's too expensive. They need to bring down the price. And two, I don't know how I could tell that adopted child that they were adopted. I don't want to lie to them their whole lives. Then again, I don't want to tell them because then they'll feel that that their biological parents didn't care about them at all. And say if I were to have to discipline my kids, which I hope I never have to, then they could flip out, attack me or commit suicide. So it's a very sensitive, field, adoption. And that's why when people choose abortion, it's because they don't have the money to pay for the child, and they just they don't want to throw the child into an adoption agency its whole life, because it's not that they feel bad and sad about it. It's that they don't want the child coming back to them later on and hating them for being thrown away. They are afraid of throwing them away. That's why a lot of times these people are killing their kids and making them look like accidents when they're like babies, because they didn't want the child to begin with. And that's why you're seeing all these people killing their babies. It's really crazy. because maybe the parents didn't want them to have an abortion, or maybe they didn't have the money. I mean, there are programs where they do abortions for free, but even then, you could die from abortions. It's very risky. So maybe they're afraid of being killed while having an abortion, and so many things. Some people say though they were forced to have a child against their will, basically, and that's why they say that they're justified to have an abortion. But me, I'm pro-life, and it's very hard to say because I don't want people who have abortions or choose to have abortions. I don't want them hating me by saying I'm pro-life. I respect everyone's opinion. I don't think people should be having abortions. But that, again, at the same time, I don't think we could ever ban it. I don't think we'll ever be able to ban abortions. Because these women, they say that for different reasons, that it was an accident. They didn't want the baby. So they shouldn't have to be forced to bear the child. And it's really bad. It's a mess. And I wish people didn't have to adopt children, because it's really bad. Because there's no easy way to tell a child that they were adopted. Well, one of the coolest shows I've seen is Hunter Street. It's like a mystery show, family show. I believe it's on Disney Channel and Nickelodeon. And they have a little bit of everything, comedy in it and stuff. And it's a really good show. It's about this rich family. They adopt children, and the children find out that there's these people that are after their wealth. So it's a very good show. It's one of my favorite shows about adoption. And it has, a mix of everything in the show, which is cool. So, it sounds nice, for people to adopt children, but I wish it was perfect, but it's not. Adoptive children can take it so many ways. They could take it like they're happy that someone brought them out of those horrible adoption agencies, those adoption centers, because it's bad growing up in those. It feels like a prison. They're forced to be with hundreds and hundreds of kids every day in bunk beds, and they don't have their own space, and they get in fights a lot in those places. It's really bad, Mainly, the majority is a lot of fights. It's like being in a prison. They can't escape it. So, I hope the adoptive children can be happy that someone is adopting them out of those places, because they're bringing them out of that horrible environment and bringing them into a better environment. Now, people, every time when they always adopt children, they always want to adopt them as babies because they don't know anything that goes on. That is why other children age 6 all the way to 18 have a really hard time being adopted, because they feel like no one wants them, because the child will already know that they're being adopted. And, of course, the adoption agency can't lie to them saying, oh, this is one of your relatives, if it's not. They have to, they can't lie to them. They have to tell them the truth and saying that they're being adopted from people that are not related to them. So it's really bad. I wish the world wasn't this way. I wish there wasn't abortions and adoptions. I wish these facilities, I'm glad they're there, but they're not nice. They don't have the money to give every child their own room in these centers. They just cram them all in like sardines, And they're like, it's like prisons in those adoption centers. It's bad. And they just keep hoping and praying for someone to adopt them and bring them out of it. And even then, when they do, they're still depressed, because not just postpartum depression, flashbacks of them being in those centers, but also knowing that their biological parents didn't want them, knowing that their adopted parents aren't their real parents, and it's bad, But I hope people could choose to adopt children more, because it's really bad in those centers, and they shouldn't be just adopting babies. That's the coward way to do it. And of course, you don't have to adopt them when they're 15 either. Hopefully, the ages when they're 14 to 18, they could be. There needs to be incentives, not just from the government, the president, but incentives from companies and rich people, celebrities, to help those kids in transition that are ages 13 to 18, help them transition faster into life while they're still in the adoption centers, help them transition in terms of getting jobs and all kinds of things. They should be provided jobs more than regular people. There needs to be certain organizations and jobs and employers that give special access to those kids in those situations. Even homeless children and homeless people, they should be entered into the workforce through employers and programs more. So there needs to be more of a what's it called? More of a see, I get out of lots of words sometimes. There needs to be more of a public service, I believe what it's called. Public service initiatives into helping the poor that are homeless and children without parents in the adoption centers, to be provided more jobs and give them money to get on their feet. Because it's really bad when they're at the bottom of the barrel, the lowest of low. They need angels, human angels, to go in and swoop them out and save them and bring them up and pull them up. So it's really bad. So if I could convince you all to think about adopting children, it's one of the most loving things you could do to really help those children. If everyone in America would be adopting more, there wouldn't be so many of them going through sheer hell in those adoption centers. They're not nice places. Most people think, oh, it's probably not that bad. It is bad. They have to go through fights every day from people because they're all crammed up together, and they're just looking for freedom. They're looking for a place to escape that horrible place. It's like prisons for them. So we'll go ahead and end it there. We'll do a couple of EVPs, and we'll do a couple of EVPs, and we'll end out the show. So if I could convince more people to not be aborting their children and to keep their children, not throw them away, and for more people to be adopting children. Like that's what I like about Wendy's. They have the Wendy's adoption program, the charity. So that's nice, you know. There needs to be more incentives. People need to be talking about adoption more, and celebrities need to be talking about it. It seems like this hidden thing that people don't usually talk about. Adoption. People need to be talking about adoption more everywhere on TV, radio, music, movies, you know. There needs to be more people adopting. And it needs to become cheaper, and it needs to become more people doing it. That's how we'll make a difference in this world. Not just America, but the whole world. Okay, let's get started into the EVPs. Electronic voice phenomenon. Okay. And here we go. I need to lower the volume on the phone because it plays back and gets in the way of what it says. Here we go. Okay, on this one we got the words. We have the words are our non-union channel or canal harvested and apprehended. Now I am interpreting something is ours that is not a union, that's some kind of a canal or some kind of channel or something that is being harvested, which is a rapture, and the evil people will be apprehended, which is the mark of God. Those without the mark of God will be punished after the rapture, and they will be apprehended. Those with the mark of the beast will think they have their time in the sun, but it'll just be for a very short time, and they will be brought down by God. Oh yeah. So I'm seeing something as not ours of a union, no, not ours. That's not a union of a channel, canal, harvest, the rapture. So basically, something's coming in some kind of canal or channel. That's not a union. Okay. This one here, talking about family and adoptions and all, it says, Clara doing well family. Now, I don't know who's Clara. Clara doing well family. Could Clara be sounding like it's saying something else? Clara, clarify, Clara. Something along those lines. Okay, we'll do two more. So, talking about adoptions, we are the family of God. I saw in the Bible one time, it said that, I forgot what it said, but it said when Jesus returns, it will be like the global adoption, that Jesus will be adopting us all in the heavens. So that was interesting. It said we are the family of God. We are all brothers and sisters of the Lord. Okay, we got the words. Gaseous regulating ale corbel. Gaseous regulating ale corbel. Now I can be gassy sometimes. That's why I burp a lot. And it's from the ulcer I have, the medicine. All of it's just takes its toll on my body. So it's going to be what it's talking about: gaseous regulating, and then ale, like ginger ale. Corbel. Now I don't know what corbel means. I don't know what to make of corbel. Now I got the words on this phone. It says, "I can hear you talking to me. I can hear you talking to me." And then it says, "I can hear you talking to me. Still forces around." I can hear you talking to me. Still forces around. So we're going to do one more. Oh, what a day. I work all day, and then only time I have to do the shows when I get off work at night. So we'll go ahead and end it here. Okay. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ignition, blast off. Okay, we got the words. Man, get phlegm sometimes. Performing, like me, I'm about to perform my music soon. Performing, alloy, transplanter, grounded, mold board, revenging, rosa, fondest. So what am I interpreting here is I'm about to be performing alloy, like alley, some club in an alley. I'm about to be performing a transplanter. Now, transplanter could be talking about, human cloning, hybrid, half human, half animal hybrids, grounding. But to be grounding, it says moboard, it sounds like motherboard, because what is you ground a motherboard? So something to do with maybe science and computers while performing in an alley. Revenging Rosa fondest. Now, Rosa, like flower, is a name of a girl also. So Rosa is revenging her fondest memories. I mean, fondest, you think of like fondest memories. You think of like fondest means best of. So Rosa's revenging fondest thing also. So I don't know what to make of it. So something to do with technology there or something. And on this one, the last one, we got the words. Now we got the word Bangladesh there. It says, let's see, I gotta piece it together like a puzzle. Like a puzzle. Let's see, what does it say? The real issue is that Bangladesh is true. The real issue is that Bangladesh is true, basically. Now, it has the word but true there, but I had to take that word out to make it make sense. So I see it as the real issue is that Bangladesh is true. So I'm actually saying the word is 2 times. The real issue is that Bangladesh is true. So I had to remove the word that says that the issue is true. That it's confusing. So basically, it's saying the real issue is that Bangladesh is true. I don't know what to make of that. So Now, Bangladesh has something to do with Asia, okay? And Asia, Bangladesh, what could it mean? Something happening with China, maybe? What could it mean, though? The economy? I think it could mean how Trump, and not just Trump, but our government is trying to get the UN and everyone to get China to help us more in resolving the North Korean conflict issue. So I think that's what it means. Bangladesh maybe has a part to play in it. So I hope to receive powerful prophecy through this forum. I had a couple before, like I said, the one that said Portland bomb empire, and then I saw the story of they foiled a terrorist attack in Trinidad. Now I was saying before that Trinidad is the inventor of the steel drum music, and they are like, since they are the inventors of that, they're most seen as one of the most tropical places because of that. So Portland, the port into Trinidad, and the terrorists, the bomb, the empire. So I believe I had a connection there. I believe I predicted the Trinidad foiled terrorist attack. Now it's hard because I didn't get exact words. Portland, I have to try to link it to Trinidad. It's hard to do, but I have what's seen as a likely ping, a likely connection there to it. So I hope these predictions get more powerful. So we'll go ahead and end the show out there. Please tell everyone you know to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you. Have a good night. Peace.